I'm stationed in Iraq, the heat and dust clinging to my uniform. The constant hum of helicopters and the distant rumble of artillery are a backdrop to my daily routine. Each day is a blur of drills and patrols, a rhythm I've grown accustomed to. My life feels controlled and purposeful, anchored by my role here and my family back home. Back home, my wife, Laura, and our young daughter, Emily, are my constants. Laura and I have been married for 5 years. We've managed to keep our bond strong despite the miles between us. Her letters and the occasional phone call are my lifeline, the only thing that makes the relentless days bearable. Our relationship, though strained by distance, seems solid from the outside. We have our moments of doubt, the occasional argument about the future, but I always believed in us. Laura's voice on the phone, sweet and reassuring, is a comfort, a reminder that while I'm fighting battles here, I'm also fighting for them. My commitment to both my family and my duty is unwavering. Everything seems routine until today. It's just another day in the desert. I'm sitting in the makeshift office, my mind wandering to thoughts of home when my phone buzzes. It's a text from Laura. I expect the usual update on Emily's school or a quick, "I miss you," but instead, I see the words that change everything. "I want a divorce." The world tilts. My heart skips a beat and my hands tremble as I read the message again. I blink, trying to process the reality of what I'm seeing. I type back, my fingers moving with a mix of anger and disbelief. "If this will make you happy, I'll do it." I hit send, staring at the screen as if willing her to explain. I go through the motions of the day, but my mind is elsewhere. The usual chatter with my team seems distant, their words muffled as I replay the message over and over. I can't shake the feeling of betrayal. I had been counting the days until I could return home, to reunite with Laura and Emily, but now that future feels shattered. Later, I receive follow-up messages from Laura, detailing her reasons, none of which make sense to me. She mentions feeling lonely, overwhelmed, and that she met someone else. I read her words with a growing sense of despair. This isn't just a breakup, it's a betrayal that cuts deep. As I stare at the desert horizon, the heat and isolation feel oppressive. My thoughts are tangled in confusion and anger. I thought we had a strong marriage, but her words have shattered that illusion. I find myself questioning everything. The day drags on, but I'm numb. My focus is gone, and my duty feels like a distant second to the storm raging in my mind. I'm left with nothing but the echo of Laura's words and the gnawing sense of what might have been. The routine of war feels even more surreal against the backdrop of my personal crisis. The days after Laura's text drag on, each one heavier than the last. The shock from her message morphs into a dull, persistent ache. I try to bury myself in work. Every mission, every patrol, is a distraction I cling to. The weight of her words lingers, though, despite my best efforts to ignore it. I start receiving more messages from Laura. Each one is a mix of rationalizations and apologies. She claims she felt suffocated and isolated, that she needed freedom. The words blur together into a narrative I can't fully grasp. I see glimpses of the woman I thought I knew, but they're shadowed by the harsh reality of her betrayal. I'm unable to reconcile this with the image of our life together, the plans we made, and the love I believed was strong enough to weather any storm. The messages come at odd hours. Sometimes I'll be lying awake in my bunk, the dim light of the desert night seeping through the small window, and my phone will buzz with another update from her. I read them in silence, trying to process the pain. There's an undercurrent of desperation in her words, a plea for understanding that I'm not ready to give. My mind races, trying to piece together what went wrong. When I'm not working, I'm consumed by thoughts of Laura. I replay conversations in my head, wondering where the cracks began to show. I think about our last phone call before she sent the text. I remember her voice, always so calm, always so steady. It's hard to believe that behind that calm facade lay such turmoil. My anger simmers beneath the surface, a constant reminder of her betrayal. I try to push it away, focusing instead on the task at hand. But every moment of quiet is a moment for my thoughts to spiral. Laura's text hits me with an emotional intensity I wasn't prepared for. I struggle with a sense of resignation. If she's made up her mind, what can I do but accept it? I try to convince myself that it's better to cut ties cleanly, to move on with my life. But it's not that simple. The emotional impact is profound. I feel a sense of loss, a grief for the future I thought we would share. Back in Iraq, I'm haunted by fragments of memories. I recall moments of intimacy with Laura, the way she used to smile when we shared our plans for the future, and how we used to touch each other tenderly. The physical distance only amplifies the emotional chasm that's opened up between us. I try to focus on the present, but the past intrudes relentlessly. I start investigating Laura's life from afar. I use whatever resources I can to gather information, piecing together snippets of her new reality. I discover that she's been seeing someone else. The pain of this realization is a fresh wound. I can't escape the gnawing sense of betrayal and anger. The man she's with, he's a complete stranger to me, yet his presence in her life feels like a direct challenge to everything I thought was true. The realization that she's moved on so quickly hits hard. I struggle with a growing sense of betrayal. It's not just about the divorce, it's about the way she seemingly replaced me so effortlessly. I feel like a fool, trying to understand how I could have been so blind to her unhappiness. Her new life, her new relationship, it's a stark reminder of the shattered dreams I'm left with. I try to compartmentalize to focus on my duties, but my performance suffers. My team notices my distraction. They ask if everything is all right, and I brush off their concern with vague responses. I can't afford to let my personal issues affect my work, but it's becoming increasingly difficult. My mind drifts to Laura and her new life, and the constant barrage of updates only makes it harder to concentrate. Laura's messages become a daily ritual, a grim reminder of what I've lost. I read them, and each one feels like a further betrayal. She continues to express her remorse, but her apologies feel hollow. The more she explains, the less I understand. I can't reconcile her version of events with my own experiences. The emotional toll is enormous. I'm exhausted, not just physically but mentally. The stress is affecting my sleep, my focus, and my interactions with others. I find myself snapping at colleagues, short-tempered and irritable. I'm losing the balance I once had, the one that kept me grounded and focused on my mission. The desert becomes a metaphor for my internal landscape, vast, empty, and desolate. I wander through my days trying to make sense of the chaos that has engulfed me. The routine that once offered solace now feels like a cage. My thoughts are consumed by Laura and the life I thought we were building together. Despite my attempts to distract myself, the situation at home begins to unravel. I receive fragmented updates about Laura's new relationship and her plans for the future. Each piece of information is like a dagger, deepening the wound left by her betrayal. The more I learn, the more I feel like I'm losing control. In the midst of this turmoil, I struggle with a deep sense of anger and betrayal. I want answers, but they are elusive. I need closure, but it feels just out of reach. I'm caught between the desire to move on and the need to understand what happened. This emotional conflict is a constant companion, a source of tension and frustration. As the days pass, I find it increasingly difficult to focus on anything but Laura's betrayal. My attempts to maintain normalcy are overshadowed by the growing realization that my life has been irrevocably altered. The separation, once a distant concept, now feels like a concrete reality, and I'm left grappling with its implications. The emotional weight of Laura's actions becomes a constant burden. I try to engage in activities to take my mind off things, reading, exercising, even trying to form connections with my fellow soldiers. But nothing seems to fully distract me from the reality of her betrayal. My thoughts are a tangled mess, dominated by a sense of loss and a desperate need for resolution. In the quiet moments, I confront my own feelings of inadequacy. I question whether I could have done more to prevent this, whether I could have been a better husband. The doubts eat at me, compounding the sense of betrayal and hurt. The emotional strain is relentless, and I'm left grappling with feelings that seem too heavy to bear. Laura's text message has set off a chain reaction that I'm struggling to control. The impact on my emotional well-being is profound, and I'm left to navigate a new reality where the future I envisioned is no longer possible. As I continue to wrestle with these feelings, I realize that I need to find a way to make sense of this upheaval and find a path forward. The weight of Laura's betrayal settles heavily on me as I try to manage my duties. I'm caught between the chaos of war and the unraveling of my personal life. My focus is fractured, and it shows. My commanding officer, noticing my distraction, pulls me aside. "What's going on with you, Sergeant?" "You're off your game." I offer a vague response. "Just dealing with some personal issues, sir. I'll get it sorted." He doesn't press further, but the concern in his eyes is evident. My personal issues are more than just a minor distraction. They are consuming my every thought. I'm trying to hold on to my composure, but the emotional strain is affecting my performance. Laura's updates are relentless. I get glimpses into her new life, social media posts, mutual acquaintances updating me on her whereabouts. Each detail chips away at my resolve. I learn about her new relationship, the man who has replaced me in her life. The anger and betrayal that simmer beneath my surface become more pronounced with each passing day. My investigation into Laura's new life reveals painful truths. She's not just moved on, she's embraced a new identity. I see photos of her laughing with another man, seemingly carefree and happy. It's a stark contrast to the life I thought we had built together. My emotions are a tangled mess of anger, sadness, and confusion. Every new piece of information feels like a fresh wound. I'm obsessed with understanding how things went so wrong. I look back at our last conversations, trying to find clues in her words. I dissect her messages, searching for any hint that might explain her actions. My mind races with questions that have no answers. Why did she decide to end things? What led her to this new life so quickly? The more I dig, the more I realize I've been living under a false sense of security. Laura's betrayal has shattered my belief in our relationship. I feel like a fool for not seeing the signs, for not understanding the depth of her unhappiness. I've spent years away from my family, sacrificing so much for my duty, only to come back to this betrayal. My obsession with finding answers starts to affect my current relationships. I snap at colleagues, my patience wearing thin. I'm irritable and withdrawn, my mind consumed by the personal storm that rages inside me. I try to mask my pain, but it seeps through in every interaction. My focus on the mission is slipping, and I worry that my performance will deteriorate further if I can't find a way to cope. Laura's new relationship becomes a focal point of my distress. I try to understand the man she's with, searching for any reason to dislike him. I look for faults, hoping that if I can find something wrong with him, it will somehow validate my pain. But it's pointless. My anger is directed at her, not him. He's just a symbol of the life she's moved on to, a reminder of everything I've lost. In the midst of this turmoil, I struggle to maintain a sense of normalcy. I throw myself into my work, trying to ignore the personal pain that consumes me. I force myself to focus on the mission, to perform my duties with the same dedication I had before. But it's a struggle. The emotional weight is a constant burden, dragging me down and affecting my every move. I begin to question my own feelings. Am I holding on to this anger and betrayal because it's easier than moving on? Is my fixation on Laura's actions a way to avoid confronting my own shortcomings? The self-doubt adds another layer of complexity to my emotional state. I'm grappling with my own failures, feeling as though I've let down not only my family but myself. The emotional toll of Laura's betrayal becomes a relentless companion. I'm caught in a cycle of anger, sadness, and regret. Each day feels like a repetition of the last, with the same painful thoughts and the same unanswerable questions. I try to distract myself with various activities, exercise, reading, even reaching out to new acquaintances, but nothing fully alleviates the pain. My search for answers grows increasingly desperate. I try to piece together the timeline of Laura's new relationship, hoping that understanding the sequence of events will provide some clarity. I'm consumed by the need to know every detail, every moment that led to the end of our marriage. But no matter how much I learn, it doesn't change the fact that our life together is over. As the days pass, my obsession with Laura's betrayal starts to jeopardize my current life. I find myself withdrawing from my new family, unable to fully engage with them. I'm haunted by the memories of my past, unable to fully embrace the present. The emotional weight of Laura's actions threatens to destroy the stability I've tried to build with my new family. The tension between my personal life and my duties reaches a breaking point. I'm torn between my commitment to my job and the overwhelming need to process my emotions. My performance suffers, and I worry about the long-term impact on my career. The stress is affecting my health, my relationships, and my ability to function effectively. I start to question whether I'll ever be able to move on. The emotional strain of Laura's betrayal is a constant reminder of what I've lost. The anger and hurt feel like a heavy cloak that I can't shed. My attempts to focus on the future are overshadowed by the lingering pain of the past. I worry that I'm stuck in a cycle of anger and regret, unable to find a way out. The growing obsession with the truth becomes a consuming force in my life. I'm driven to uncover every detail of Laura's new life, hoping that understanding her actions will somehow provide closure. But the more I learn, the more I realize that the answers I seek may never fully satisfy me. The past is a shattered mirror, and no amount of investigation will piece it back together. In the midst of this struggle, I find myself grappling with a profound sense of loss. The life I thought I had, the future I envisioned, is gone. I'm left with fragments of memories and a deep sense of betrayal. My efforts to move on feel like a battle against an invisible enemy, one that threatens to overwhelm me at every turn. The emotional weight of Laura's actions becomes a constant presence in my life. I try to navigate the complexities of my current situation while coming to terms with the past. Each day feels like a struggle to maintain balance, to find a way forward despite the overwhelming pain. I'm caught between the need to understand and the desire to move on, unable to fully embrace either path. The days following Laura's return are a whirlwind of emotion. I find myself torn between anger and the longing for closure. The stability I've built with my new family feels precarious, as if it could crumble with each confrontation and revelation. The tension is unbearable, and I struggle to maintain my composure. Laura's visit is arranged, a face-to-face meeting that feels like a trial in itself. I pace around my living room, rehearsing what I'll say. My heart pounds with every step. The house, which once felt like a sanctuary, now feels like a battleground. The calm I've tried to create is shattered by the storm of Laura's presence. When the doorbell rings, it feels like the final judgment. I open the door to find Laura standing there, looking older, but still striking. Her eyes meet mine, and for a moment, the years seem to collapse. I'm caught between the past and the present, struggling to reconcile the woman I once loved with the one who's caused so much pain. "Hi, Mark," she says softly, her voice tinged with an emotion I can't quite place. It's an attempt at familiarity, but it feels hollow. I nod, stepping aside to let her in. My grip on the doorframe tightens. I can't escape the memories of what once was, and they weigh heavily on me. Laura takes a seat in the living room, and I follow, trying to maintain a facade of calm. The room is filled with a tense silence. I sit across from her, my eyes searching for any hint of sincerity. "Why are you here, Laura?" I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. She takes a deep breath, her eyes welling up. "I need to explain. I owe you that much." I cross my arms, bracing myself. "Explain what? Why you destroyed our life?" Her voice falters. "It wasn't supposed to be like this. I was scared and confused. I thought I was making the right decision at the time. I'm not buying it." "You thought tearing our family apart was the right decision?" Laura's face crumples. "No, I didn't think it through. I was selfish and impulsive. I thought I'd be happier if I started over, but I was wrong." The anger inside me simmers, barely contained. "So what is it you want now? Forgiveness? An explanation for what happened? Laura nods, tears streaming down her face. I want to make amends. I'm sorry for how everything went down. I know I hurt you and I can't undo that. I just want you to know that I regret it. Her words are laced with genuine remorse, but they're also self-serving. It's clear she's seeking absolution, but I can't ignore the fact that her apology comes a decade too late. Regret? That's all you have to offer? Laura's voice is barely a whisper. I've been living with this guilt for years. I thought coming here and being honest was the only way to find some peace. The confrontation is taking its toll. The anger that's been festering inside me is now a roaring fire. You had a chance to fix this. You chose to move on with someone else, to rebuild your life while I was left to pick up the pieces. Her gaze drops to the floor. I know, I'm sorry. I thought I was doing what was best for me, but I realize now how much I've hurt you. I wish I could change the past. The weight of her words hits me like a punch. The past can't be changed, and her attempts to rewrite it only deepen my frustration. You can't change the past, Laura. What you've done has consequences. Laura's sobs are muffled, but her regret is palpable. I understand. I just needed you to know how sorry I am. I take a deep breath, trying to process her apology. It's difficult to separate my anger from the need for closure. Your apology doesn't erase the pain. It doesn't fix what's broken. Her voice shakes. I know, I don't expect it to. I just wanted to be honest with you and hope that somehow in time, you might find it in yourself to forgive me. Forgiveness feels like a distant possibility. The hurt runs too deep. I stare at Laura, searching for any signs of the person I once knew. The woman in front of me is a stranger, someone who's caused irreparable damage to my life. The anger I feel is matched only by the confusion of trying to understand her motivations. What about your new life? I ask, my voice edged with bitterness. What happens now? Laura's eyes are filled with a mixture of regret and resignation. I've moved on. I'm in a relationship, and I'm trying to build a life for myself. I didn't come here to disrupt anything. I just needed to face the past. Her admission feels like a final blow. The life she's built is a stark reminder of what I lost. You've moved on, Laura. You've left me to deal with the wreckage of our past. Laura stands, wiping her tears. I'm sorry for everything. I hope you find a way to move forward. I just needed you to know how much I regret my actions. As she turns to leave, I'm left with a sense of unresolved tension. Her apology, while heartfelt, doesn't change the reality of what happened. The confrontation has opened old wounds and left me grappling with the remnants of a shattered past. I watch her walk away, feeling the weight of her words lingering in the air. The house feels colder, emptier. The confrontation has forced me to confront my own feelings, my own failures, and the complex web of emotions that come with facing someone who once meant everything to me. The fallout from this encounter is inevitable. My mind is a storm of anger, confusion, and sorrow. The stability I've worked so hard to build with my new family feels fragile, and I'm left with the daunting task of trying to piece together the fragments of my life. The confrontation with Laura has left me emotionally fractured, but determined to find a way to resolve the mess. The road ahead is uncertain, and the path to resolution is fraught with challenges. I must navigate the complexities of my emotions while trying to protect the life I've built. The confrontation with Laura has been a catalyst for change, forcing me to face the truth and make critical decisions about my future. In the aftermath of the meeting, I'm left with the daunting task of sorting through my emotions and finding a way to move forward. The road ahead will be difficult, but I'm determined to confront my past and work towards a future that, while uncertain, holds the promise of healing and growth. The days after Laura's visit are fraught with uncertainty. The confrontation left me feeling emotionally raw and deeply unsettled. My focus shifts from processing her apology to addressing the mess she stirred up in my life. I need to find a way to untangle the knot of deceit and betrayal that threatens to unravel everything I've worked for. I start by confronting the reality of my situation. My marriage to Laura is a broken relic. and the new life I've built with Emily and the kids feels fragile, as if it could collapse under the weight of my unresolved past. I know I have to address this, but where do I even begin? The first step is to come clean with Emily. She's noticed the change in me, my distance, my preoccupation. I can't hide it any longer. One evening, as we sit in the living room, I turn to her. Her eyes are full of concern, and the weight of my secret feels heavier with each passing moment. Emily, I start, my voice trembling. There's something I need to tell you. Her gaze is steady, encouraging. What's wrong? I take a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves. Laura came back, my ex-wife. She wants to explain why she left, and it's been a mess. Emily's eyes widen, and I can see the hurt and confusion in them. And what does that mean for us? I feel a pang of guilt. I don't know yet, but I want you to know the truth. Everything I've been feeling, it's not about you. It's about trying to come to terms with my past. Emily reaches out and takes my hand. You should have told me sooner. We're in this together. Her support is a balm for my battered emotions, but I know that the real work is just beginning. I need to figure out how to rebuild, not just my relationship with Emily, but also my own sense of stability and purpose. The next step is to deal with the fallout of Laura's return. I delve into her life, trying to piece together the puzzle of her actions. I reach out to mutual acquaintances and find out she's been living with her new partner, someone she met shortly after our divorce. The knowledge stings, but it also helps me understand the extent of her detachment from our past. The more I learn, the more I realize that I've been living under a false sense of security. Laura's actions weren't just a betrayal, they were a rejection of everything we had built together. The realization is a harsh blow, but it's also a necessary one. I need to confront the truth to move forward. I begin to focus on what's next. I need to reassess my life, my relationships, and my goals. I start with Emily, working on rebuilding the trust that's been strained. We spend more time together, working on our communication and understanding each other's needs. The process is slow and requires patience, but it's a step in the right direction. The tension from the past also affects my interactions with my children. They notice my preoccupation and my emotional distance. I make a conscious effort to be present, to engage with them, and to ensure they feel secure and loved. It's an ongoing process, but their happiness is crucial to my own sense of stability. In parallel, I seek professional help. I start attending therapy sessions to deal with the emotional fallout from Laura's actions and the strain it's placed on my current life. The sessions are eye-opening, helping me to untangle my feelings of anger, betrayal, and guilt. It's a painful process, but it's also necessary for my healing. Throughout this period, Emily remains a constant source of support. Her presence is a reminder of what I have to lose and what I need to protect. We work through the challenges together, finding strength in our shared commitment to each other and our family. The more I engage in this process of healing and rebuilding, the clearer it becomes that Laura's return has forced me to confront deeper issues within myself. I've been using the past as an excuse to avoid dealing with my present challenges. Laura's actions, while painful, have served as a catalyst for self-examination and growth. As time passes, I find myself gradually emerging from the shadow of my past. The healing process is ongoing, but I'm learning to navigate it with greater resilience. I focus on being a better partner, a more present father, and a more self-aware individual. The confrontation with Laura has also brought to light unresolved issues that I need to address. I have to deal with the emotional scars from my past, the mistakes I've made, and the ways I've allowed them to shape my current life. It's a challenging journey, but it's one that I'm committed to completing. Rebuilding my relationship with Emily is a key focus. We make time for each other, engage in meaningful conversations, and work on strengthening our bond. It's not always easy, and there are moments of tension and doubt, but our shared commitment to each other helps us navigate the challenges. The process of healing is not linear. There are setbacks and moments of doubt, but there are also moments of clarity and growth. I learned to embrace the journey, to accept the past for what it is, and to move forward with a renewed sense of purpose. As I continue to work through the complexities of my emotions and relationships, I find that my perspective on the past begins to shift. I start to see Laura's actions not just as a betrayal, but as a catalyst for my own growth and transformation. The pain of the past is still there, but it no longer defines me. The healing process is ongoing, but it's accompanied by a sense of hope and renewal. I'm learning to embrace the lessons from the past while focusing on building a future that is grounded in honesty, commitment, and personal growth. In the end, Laura's return has been a painful but necessary part of my journey. It's forced me to confront my past, to deal with unresolved issues, and to work towards a future that is more authentic and fulfilling. The road ahead is still uncertain, but I'm committed to navigating it with resilience and hope. My focus now is on rebuilding my life, both personally and within my family. I know there will be challenges along the way, but I'm determined to face them with the strength and clarity that I've gained through this journey. The past will always be a part of me, but it no longer holds the power to dictate my future. As I look ahead, I'm filled with a sense of purpose and optimism. The journey has been difficult, but it's also been transformative. I'm ready to embrace the future with a renewed sense of hope and determination, knowing that I have the strength and resilience to navigate whatever challenges lie ahead. The final confrontation with Laura has been looming over me like a storm cloud. We've arranged to meet at a small cafe, a neutral ground where emotions can be kept in check, though I know that's a naive hope. I arrive early, needing the extra time to steel myself. My hands are clammy, my heart racing. Every inch of me is on edge, anticipating the fallout of this long-awaited conversation. The cafe is quiet, a haven from the chaos of the outside world. The soft hum of background music does little to soothe my nerves. I sit at a corner table, my gaze fixed on the door. The minutes drag by as I wait for Laura to arrive. Each second feels like an eternity. When Laura walks in, my breath catches. She's changed, her appearance more polished than I remember, though the familiar features still provoke a pang of old feelings. She approaches with a cautious smile, her eyes carrying a mix of regret and hope. I stand to greet her, my movements stiff and mechanical. "Laura," I say, my voice gruff. "Thanks for coming." She sits down opposite me, her posture tense. "Thank you for agreeing to meet." I nod, trying to keep my emotions in check. "Let's just get to it. Why are you here? Why now?" Laura's eyes drop to her hands, fiddling with the napkin on the table. "I owe you an explanation, something more than what I gave you before." I lean in, my patience wearing thin. "And what could possibly make up for 10 years of lies and pain?" She takes a deep breath, her eyes meeting mine with a mix of defiance and desperation. "I was scared. I made a terrible mistake. I thought I was escaping from a life that wasn't right for me. I thought a new beginning would solve everything." Her words are like a knife twisting in my gut. "And what about the affair? The new life you built while I was struggling to understand why you left?" Laura winces at the mention of the affair. "It was a mistake. I was looking for something that wasn't there. I thought I could find happiness elsewhere, but it didn't work out. I've been trying to make amends with myself ever since. I can hardly contain my anger. So you come back now, after everything? What do you want from me, Laura?" Her eyes fill with tears. "I want you to understand why I did what I did. I want you to know that I've been struggling too. I'm not asking for anything from you, just for you to hear me out." Her pain is palpable, and despite my anger, I can't entirely dismiss it. "Okay, I'm listening, but this doesn't change the fact that you shattered my life." Laura's tears spill over. "I know, and I'm so sorry for that. I was selfish and thoughtless. I wanted to start over, but it didn't work. I've been carrying this guilt with me for years." There's something in her voice, a hint of vulnerability that makes me pause. I try to focus on her words, but the memories of the past, of our life together and the hurt she inflicted, are overwhelming. I need to process this. "What are you expecting from this meeting?" Laura looks down again, her shoulders slumping. Closure for both of us. I need to face what I've done and make peace with it. I hope you can too. I sit back, the weight of her confession heavy on my shoulders. And what about the life I've built since then? The family I have now? Laura's gaze is filled with remorse. I can't change the past. I understand if you can't forgive me or if this changes how you feel about me. I just needed to be honest about what happened. I let out a heavy sigh. I need to think about what this means. I can't just erase what happened, but I can try to find a way to move forward. I need to consider how this impacts my family now. Laura nods, tears streaming down her face. I understand. I didn't expect you to make a decision right now. I just wanted you to know the truth. We sit in silence for a few moments, the tension between us palpable. I can see the toll that time has taken on Laura, but the scars of her betrayal are still fresh for me. I have to focus on what this means for me and my family. The past can't be changed, but it can be acknowledged and confronted. Finally, I stand up, signaling the end of our meeting. Thank you for being honest with me. I need time to process everything. Laura stands as well, her face a mix of relief and sorrow. I hope you find peace. I'm truly sorry for everything. As she walks away, I feel a strange mixture of relief and continued anger. The confrontation has been cathartic, but it's also left me with more questions than answers. I need to focus on my present and my future, not let the past derail what I've built. The drive home is filled with tumultuous thoughts. The conversation with Laura has been draining, and I'm struggling to make sense of how it all fits into the broader context of my life. I think about Emily, the kids, and the life we've built together. I know I have to protect that, but the shadows of the past are long and difficult to escape. When I arrive home, Emily is waiting for me. Her concern is evident as she sees the strain on my face. How did it go? She asks gently. I take a deep breath, trying to gather my thoughts. It was difficult. Laura was honest, but it doesn't change what happened. I'm still processing everything. Emily pulls me into a hug, her warmth a comfort in the midst of my turmoil. We'll get through this together. You don't have to face it alone. Her support is a beacon of light in the darkness. I know the path ahead will be challenging, but having Emily by my side makes it more bearable. We sit together, talking through the events of the day, trying to make sense of the past while focusing on the future. As the days pass, I continue to wrestle with the implications of my conversation with Laura. I've come to realize that while her return has stirred up old wounds, it has also given me a clearer perspective on my own life. I need to focus on healing, on rebuilding, and on moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose. The road to resolution is long and fraught with challenges. I continue to work on my relationship with Emily, to support my family, and to confront the emotional scars from my past. The process is slow, but each step brings me closer to finding peace and understanding. In the end, the confrontation with Laura has been a pivotal moment in my journey. It has forced me to face the truth, to deal with the pain of the past, and to work towards a future that is grounded in honesty and resilience. The path ahead is still uncertain, but I'm committed to navigating it with strength and determination. My final confrontation with Laura had left me reeling. The pain and confusion have not subsided, but they are now accompanied by a clearer sense of what needs to be done. I've spent days wrestling with the implications of our meeting, trying to reconcile my past with my present, and finding a way forward. One evening, I sit in our living room, the soft glow of the lamp casting a warm light across the room. Emily is out with the kids, and the house is eerily quiet. I take this time to reflect, to dig deep into the lingering emotions that our meeting stirred up. The house is a testament to our life together. Family photos on the walls, children's drawings on the fridge. It's a sanctuary, but now it feels like a battleground where the ghosts of my past and present are clashing. The phone rings, pulling me from my thoughts. It's Laura, her name flashing on the screen. I hesitate before answering. My emotions are raw, but there's something unfinished that needs addressing. Hello? I say, my voice strained. Hi, Laura's voice comes through, hesitant. I hope I'm not intruding. No, it's fine, I reply. What's on your mind? I just wanted to check in, see how you're doing after our meeting, she says. I lean back in my chair, trying to maintain control. I'm dealing with it. It's not easy. I understand, Laura says softly. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, or ever, really. I just wanted to give you space to process. Her voice is filled with sincerity, but it doesn't erase the hurt. You've given me a lot to think about, but it's not just about forgiving you, it's about understanding how to move forward. I know, Laura says, and I'm not asking for anything from you. I just needed to explain myself. We talk for a while longer, exchanging strained pleasantries and trying to navigate the awkwardness that now defines our relationship. The conversation doesn't bring closure, but it does provide a small measure of understanding. It's a step towards disentangling the mess she left behind, but there's still a long way to go. When Emily and the kids come home, I make a conscious effort to put on a brave face. I don't want them to see the turmoil that Laura's return has stirred up. We sit down for dinner and I try to engage in our usual family routine, but my mind is elsewhere, haunted by the conversation I just had. After dinner, Emily senses something is off. She pulls me aside, her eyes full of concern. You've been distant lately. Is everything okay? I look at her, feeling the weight of my secrets. It's just, things are complicated right now. I'm dealing with some unresolved issues from the past. Emily takes my hand, her touch soothing. You don't have to go through this alone. We're a team, remember? Her support is a lifeline. I nod, grateful for her understanding. I know. I'm trying to figure out how to balance everything. My past, my present, and my future. Emily nods, her expression one of determination. We'll get through this. We've faced challenges before, and we can face this one too. As the days go by, I continue to wrestle with the fallout from my confrontation with Laura. I focus on rebuilding my relationship with Emily and our family, trying to find a way to integrate the lessons from the past into our present. One afternoon, I decide to visit a therapist. The decision isn't easy, but I recognize that I need help to process my emotions and find a way to heal. The therapist's office is a calm space, filled with soft lighting and comfortable chairs. I sit down feeling a mixture of anxiety and hope. Tell me what's been going on, the therapist says, her voice gentle. I take a deep breath and start to recount the events of the past few months, Laura's sudden return, the confrontation, and the impact on my family. It's painful to relive, but it's also cathartic. I'm struggling with how to move forward, I admit. I feel like my past is interfering with my present. I want to protect my family, but I'm haunted by what happened. The therapist listens attentively, nodding and understanding. It's natural to feel conflicted. You've been carrying a lot of emotional baggage. The key is to find a way to integrate these experiences into your current life without letting them overshadow it. We discuss strategies for coping with the emotional weight of my past and how to strengthen my relationships moving forward. The sessions are challenging, but they provide valuable insights and tools for managing my emotions. At home, Emily and I work on rebuilding our connection. We spend quality time together, focusing on the things that brought us joy before. We also communicate more openly about our feelings and concerns, striving to create a stronger bond. One evening, as we sit together on the couch, Emily leans her head on my shoulder. I'm proud of how you're handling everything, she says softly. It's not easy, but you're doing your best. Her words are a balm to my wounded spirit. I couldn't do it without you, I reply. Your support means everything to me. We share a quiet moment, finding solace in each other's presence. It's a reminder of why we've built a life together and why it's worth fighting for. As the weeks turn into months, I begin to feel a shift. The pain from the past isn't gone, but it's no longer the defining force in my life. I'm learning to accept it, to let it coexist with the present without allowing it to dominate my emotions. Laura's presence in my life is no longer as intrusive. I've come to terms with the fact that her actions were a part of my past, not my present. I focus on nurturing the relationships that matter most. Emily, the kids, and the life we're building together. One day I receive a final message from Laura. It's brief, but it's a gesture of closure. I hope you find peace. Thank you for listening. I read the message and feel a sense of resolution. It's not a full reconciliation, but it's a step towards letting go. I reply with a simple acknowledgement, wishing her well. The journey has been long and arduous, but it has brought me to a place of acceptance and growth. I've learned that healing is a process, one that requires patience and effort. The past has shaped who I am, but it doesn't have to define my future. With each passing day, I grow more confident in my ability to navigate the complexities of life. I'm committed to making the most of the present and building a future that is grounded in love and understanding. As I look forward, I'm filled with hope. The challenges of the past have strengthened me, and I'm ready to embrace whatever comes next with resilience and determination. The future is a blank canvas, and I'm eager to fill it with new experiences and opportunities. In the end, the journey through my past has led me to a deeper understanding of myself and the importance of the relationships I hold dear. I'm ready to face the future with a renewed sense of purpose and a heart open to new possibilities.